watching, and of course it's AFLW action here. It's going to be a fantastic night of football coming your way. Of course, we've got the reigning premiers in the Brisbane Lions taking on the Western Bulldogs, who've yet to win a game. It's going to be interesting tonight to see, well, let's just say what the margin can be. Can the reigning premiers in the Brisbane Lions make a big margin of this tonight? Let's just pop over, have a look at the lineups for the teams tonight. Brisbane Lions taking on the Bulldogs, and of course for the Brisbane Lions we've got Evie Long coming into the side, Shannon Campbell going out. Hey, Tina Bamboo. Number one, Santa. Oh, thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. Hey, Noel J. Mar, the stats man. What's going on, everybody in the house? Thanks, Lang, for coming in. I tried to get on the second phone. I keep losing connection on our pod. So sorry about that. I'll try and keep that the other one going. Bolts and Dana, the fullbacks for Brisbane. Kernan Grider, Ellinger. The centres are Dwyer Anderson, Conway. The half forwards, Pottle, Swade, Davison, Spark. The forwards, Smith, Hodler, and the followers are Dawes, Hickey, and Spark. There we go. We've got the sisters playing. For the Western Bulldogs, of course, we've got Butterfin coming in, Kimber, Woodley, Gavalis coming in. Georgiada's going out with McKee, Blackburn, and McFarlane. Some big outs going there for the Bulldogs. So I would expect a pretty big margin in favour of Brisbane tonight. Taddy, how you going, brother? Welcome in, welcome in. Thanks, everyone, for popping in for tonight. This game's about to get underway in just a moment, but we got Grant and Hearns, the fullbacks for the Western Bulldogs. Fitzgerald, Butterfin, Kimber, the halfbacks. The centres are Gorham, Pritchard, Wilcox, Grigg, Kunacek, and Smith are the half forwards. The full forwards are Woodley and Hartwig. Of course, the followers are Edmonds, Berry, and Carruthers. There we go, folks. That is the team lineups, and they're only 20 seconds away from getting this game underway. There we go. The scoreboard doesn't look too bad as it is there. So without further ado, let me take you down to the ground. We'll go into the bounce for the opening quarter.
It's a cracking evening, as it is most of the time. I might be a little bit biased, but it's often quite nice up here in Brisbane. The wind gusts, though, it will get up to about 25 kilometres an hour. Now, there is some breaking news as we look at the Brisbane Lions on the screen right now. Dakota Davison, she has been ruled out with gastro tonight, so the key forward will not take to the field, unfortunately. So just repeating, Dakota Davison is out.
Thanks, Alyssa Smith. Big night for Luca Yasuda Martin. He's taken a pick 53 in the 2021 draft. Had a quad injury in 2021. Did an ACL in May of last year, so didn't play any games last season. And this is her first game since round 7 of the 2022 season. So 940 days for Luca Yasuda Martin. And there she is alongside the first gamer. D. Berry, straight to Ali Anderson. That's going to be a battle to watch.
Really glad to see her in the midfield. As I said pre-game, has spent a lot of time in the half-forward line, and I think she's ready and primed to fill that void.
Away we go, week 4 action. It's the Brisbane Lions and the Bulldogs at Brighton Homes Arena in Springfield, and the Lions will get first due, so Dwyer couldn't control it. Spark, nowhere for Postlethwaite to go, and that's the sort of heat that Tam Hyatt's going to be looking for.
It's what you want to see early if you're a Bulldogs fan, just putting a lot of pressure on the ball carrier from the Lions. If they can't get first to the footy, put pressure on the Lions player that has the ball.
Crashing in there is Izzy Pritchard, one of their big-bodied midfielders. They'll be looking to continue developing, playing game 38 tonight is Izzy, still just 22 years of age. Hickey in the ruck. Anderson tried to slap to advantage. It's taken by Edmonds. Dogs get the use here. Opportunity to go inside 50 for the first time to a one-on-one contest. Jen Dunn in over the top. Ball's flipped out. Dawes. There's Anderson. Off to Allinger. And the Lions escape from half-back. Kick across the wing. Ruby Spark in a contest. Conway tried to keep it alive, couldn't quite do so. Throw in.
Looking forward to that matchup of Riley Wilcox and Sophie Conway. We know how damaging Conway has been and has hit the scoreboard a lot in recent games, but Riley Wilcox, she's someone that's an elite runner as well, so she'll be able to keep up with Conway.
He could go on the ruck against Edmonds. Coming off a super season, Alice Edmonds takes it out of the ruck here. Handball's intended for Carruthers, couldn't take it cleanly, and that allowed Anderson to wrap her up. Hickey went in the door's direction, as she so often does. Postlethwaite had to stand and wait. Did well. Avoided the tackle from Woodley. Delivers it inside 50. Ball slapped away by Ahrens and now taken by Wilcox. From defensive 50 towards the wing. Brisbane well set up behind the football though, and they'll have first numbers back. Grider, the give to Dunn. She'll look to change lanes. Into the middle of the ground. It's Gorman against O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer will want to get back onto that left. There she goes. Delivers it inside 50. Opportunity at the front for Smith. Picked up by Hampson. Gives it to Conway. Good tackle, Wilcox.
Good ball movement from the Lions. They want to make the ground as large as they can, make the Bulldogs defend every square inch of this Springfield Brighton Home Arena, but they're holding up well so far.
Off the contest, Bell Dawes gets the first flying shot at goal and misses right.
Can't afford to give a player like Beldors or any of the mids from the Brisbane Lions that much space inside defensive 50, so they want to tighten that one up, starting goal side and just making it hard for them to work through you.
Jess Fitzgerald with the kick in. Long towards the broadcast side. Edmonds was the target. She gathered it in on the deck and then Dawes wrapped her up. Again, Edmonds trying to win her own ball on the ground and does, and gets the feed. Well done. Good play to Carruthers. He found her boot. Took some territory. Past Grigg. Slapped on by Hartwig. First back on his bolts. Has Grider in support. Thought about the kick wide. Instead she'll go up the middle of the ground. Spark at the back. The speedster runs away from Fitzgerald. Gives it to Hampson. Well done, Jess Fitzgerald. But couldn't affect the kick, and Conway takes it. Low down on the lead.
That's a beautiful kick inside from Ellie Hampson. One out in the goal square, Sophie Conway, and it was good pressure, but the Lions, they were good enough to deal with the pressure. Ruby Spark driving out, and then this kick here to a leading Conway. There is no way a defender can get a hand on that when it's low and it's flat, and Conway's leading at the ball carrier.
Already kicked 4 for the season in 3 and a bit games. Sophie Conway, just so dangerous. And she slots the opening goal on Wednesday night footy. Becomes such an invaluable weapon. The winger that can get back and defend, goal line to goal line, push forward and genuinely score. As I mentioned, that's a 5th goal of the season. Capable of playing as a permanent forward. Can come off half back, can run the wing. What a luxury for Craig Starcevich.
Well, this is just an incredible start to the season from Sophie Conway, and already made an impact on this match, and we're not quite through 5 minutes of game time yet, but just her ability to play multiple positions across the ground, and because she has such a tank, she can almost play 100% game time, really. She can rest forward and still do things like that, and then play the bulk of her game up on the wing.
Started a career as a half-forward flanker back in 2018 before her ACL injury. Here's Kathy Spark. Off to Conan. Towards half-forward, and Conway got one fair square in the back from Wilcox. So Conway well capable of playing as a permanent forward. Given they got 4 games in 15 days, we may see a lot more of this over the next couple of weeks. That's a good mark going back from Lauren Ahrens. They brought in some veteran experience to this young dog side. Lauren playing her 6th AFLW season.
And they've been ruining the loss of Mual Aloifi in the pre-season game. The two of them playing there as pillars in defence would really shore them up. That was two experienced players that they'd gotten in to really shut down the keys from the other team. They've got a good chance here, though. She's got the match up on Smith, obviously not having to take Davidson now that she's out. And in that first sort of one-on-one, she clearly won that. So that's a win for the Dogs in this one.
Hickey gets to the front. Wilcox threw a boot at it. It ricocheted to Carruthers, but there's the defensive work from Conway.
Just have a look when the Dogs get first possession, how closely they're being warned by the Lions. And on the other hand, the Lions are able to get 1, 2, 3 handballs away in a chain before then exiting.
Dogs get it on this occasion, but again, it's smothered off the boot of Jazz Smith by Kathy Svart. No easy exits for the Dogs.
And they have got Wilcox sitting at the back of the stoppage, who's now coming up to take Conway. So usually they'd sit their winger at the back of the stoppage, but Conway's sitting there, they're paying her way too much respect to leave her, so that even takes away that handball backwards to go forwards.
Hickey tried to lay it down. Conway another tackle, this time on Pritchard. Dogs win it again. But they haven't been able to get past centre wing. And once again, the Lions will turn them back. Look out. Good tackle from behind on Allinger. Took too long. Well done, Sarah Hartwig.
That's huge. She's had a quiet few weeks, purely for what I said earlier in the game. They've had hardly any time in forward half, but for her to get in the game early, lay a tackle, you'd hope that gets her up and about for the rest of this one.
Kick down the lines, nicely read by Conan, who picks it off, and again immediately wants to switch into the middle of the ground. It's a conscious plan tonight. Awkward bounce for Fitzgerald is tidied up by Grant, but Fitzgerald now, look at the numbers around her. She's surrounded right now. And sure enough, the numbers win out. Away comes Hickey, drives it deep inside 50, turns the defence around. Tracking it back is Ahrens. She's happy to get it to the line.
It's another inside 50 for the Lions, 5-1, and it's a good point you make, Jace. They're really struggling to get the ball out of their back half, but it's not the first team that the Lions have done this to. Win a ball out of the middle and then just lock it in their forward half until they're able to jog back to the centre with 6 points on the board.
We'll just build the wall across the middle and just keep it coming back. And
77% time in forward half.
They've been so aggressive with the switches, haven't they? Attacking the corridor at every opportunity. Here's Smith. Such a gifted athlete towards the top of the square. 2-on-2. Swooping in there. Going hard was Evie Long, the first game up, wearing number 16. Congratulations to her from the Sandgate Hawks. Had a series of concussion setbacks as a junior. Entered the Brisbane Academy last season, a couple of years with them. Had a great carnival last year. Was taken at pick 15 in the draft. Another exciting young talent, as is this young lady, Charlotte Mullins. Another repeat entry for Brisbane. And sure enough, eventually, the law of probability says that one of their forwards is going to get on the end of it. And this time it's Taylor Smith.
Just holding the front position there and read the ball quicker off the boot. Ahrens has had to do a lot of defending early in this game, and that time Smith held the front space and used her body beautifully to just protect the drop of the ball.
Just improving year after year with more responsibility. Taylor Smith, little skip in the step, and slots Brisbane second. Craig Starcevich will be pleased with the start. Professional and systematic from Brisbane. 6 of the first inside 50s and 2 goals, 2 to show for it.
Well, we've just said they had 5 inside 50s to 1. You cannot allow that to be marked. If you're one of those 3 Western Bulldogs players, that ball has to come to ground. Just simple miscommunication when your backline's been under pressure. It was Bennett, Carruthers, and I think Wilcox around the other side of the mark, or perhaps it was Pritchard, sorry. But that needs to come to ground. You can't keep putting your defence under pressure like that. Time after time, the Lions will score.
So 6 of the first 7 inside 50s for Brisbane. Whistle goes. It's going to come back to the Lions and Ali Anderson for her 3rd touch. Perfect. Hit up lead from Mullins again. Beautifully weighted kick from Anderson. Mullins goes for territory. Off the hands of Ahrens. It gets to the back for Hampson. Ahrens did well. Hassler off the football. He played it a throw. I believe that's the call. Lauren Ahrens doesn't like it.
Yeah, that's what the signal from the umpire was. Didn't look extremely obvious on the first angle that we saw, but the umpire obviously in a different position on the field to what we were. So the last person you probably want at the moment having a free kick from in front is Sophie Conway.
There it is.
The throw.
Sophie called for it straight away. A chance to kick their third. She'll go with the drop punt. Conway. 5-2 for the season so far. That was always right.
Just under so much pressure, leading ball winner on the ground for the Dogs is Lauren Ahrens, who's just doing everything she can to scrap and claw and try and get this ball outside their defensive 50. They need either a mark or a contest here. It cannot be a mark to the Lions.
And she certainly doesn't want to be the leading ball getter on the ground. She's got 3 touches at the moment, as does Alice Edmonds, their ruck. So that says something about no midfielders getting involved yet, but Mullins sure is. And so's Ali Anderson. Looking dangerous, as always. Sets it up. That's better from the Dogs' defence. That's Butterfin. Good kick from her. It doesn't clear the zone. Off hands. Barwick couldn't control it. Jasmine Smith. Yoshida Martin. Off to Anderson. Another foray forward for Brisbane. Grant went to ground. Long was taken down. Yoshida Martin bends it goalwards. Hartle leaves it, hoping it bounces through, and Ahrens makes sure it doesn't.
It was a brilliant mark from Butterfin in defence. Really impressive overhead grab in a pack, but she just needed to just slow down. And that's what the hardest thing is when you're in your first 3 games of AFLW. The ball's just been living in your defensive 50 and you just want to get it out of there as quick as you can. But by taking some time, it allows your mids to form a pack to get there, to form a stoppage when the ball hits the ground.
And that kick in misses its target, so even that doesn't release the pressure. Umpires coming in to discuss. And it'll be a throw in because it's from the kick in. It was touched, in fact, from the kick in. Just before it crossed the line. So can the Dogs get a clearance win here and get it in their half of the ground and just release the pressure for a little bit? Georgia Borg's taking a ground.
Pressure from the Lions just enormous. Easily leading the disposal count, but have also laid more tackles, 10-5.
Borg in the ruck. Dawes off to Hickey. Handball's going to be intercepted by Gavalis. Here's a chance. Georgia Borg towards half forward. Beautifully read. Out in front is Jen Dunn. And here comes the counter punch. Dunn. Crossfield to Ellinger. And they create some space here, Brisbane. Next link in the chain is Mullins, who's been really busy early. Run from behind is Bolt. Over the top from Bolts to Anderson. Anderson driving kick. Can't quite get it over the back of Grant. Ball hits the deck. Picked up by Hartle. Off to Hampson. Great smother Smith, who then tries to turn tackler. Almost works. Play on the call. Dawes busts through. Right foot snap. Needs to bounce. And gets it. Belle Dawes, the bundle of energy. She's on the board in the opening term. And Brisbane fans looking comfortable with this start.
Who's really setting the tone for this forward line for the Lions at the moment, just absolutely bulldozering her way through. She's had 3 touches, but 2 of them have been direct score involvements, and Belle Dawes might just be one of the hardest players in the competition to tackle when she's got a little bit of space. Herself and Mon Conti too, that are just very agile, can change direction, can just make something happen out of nothing, and that's exactly what she did there.
Just the 10th goal of her 60-game career. And away comes Berry. She's shut down by Conway. Doesn't get an effective handball. Brisbane ball once again. Dogs just can't string together any meaningful chains of possession right now. And then Conway to rub it in. Steps around Berry. Doesn't hit the kick. Might still work for Brisbane. Here's Hodder. Gives it off. Yoshida Martin snaps goal. It can't get the angle to work, but it's at the right end of the ground again for Brisbane.
6 players from the Bulldogs still yet to touch the football, whereas every Brisbane Lions player has had at least a disposal in this one.
Line set up to lock it inside 50 once again. Edmonds. Pritchard will throw it on the boot. Can she find a target though? That's the key. Awkward bounce for Gavalis, and again Brisbane have got numbers. Ellinger beats the tackler. Nice step, Postlethwaite. Always with support. This time it's Conan. Off the hands of the contest. Conway wants her right side. Gives a little handball in the Ellinger direction. Free kick. It's going against Berry. It's going to Conway. Maybe a little extra after she got rid of the football. 5th touch for Sophie Conway. Sets it up once again. Off the hands of the contest. Swooping in is Smith. She's dispossessed. Goal-saving tackle. Well done, Maggie Gorham.
That was important. Step back to get on her left, and Gorham was there to shut down the shot. But this needs to go boundary. It needs to go close to the boundary. Can't keep kicking it. That's a perfect kick. Get a stoppage here, or at least just let it go over the boundary line with touches, and then you can get a stoppage and set up from there.
It's going to be a game of inches tonight for the Dogs, isn't it? It's got to take it metre by metre.
And this is when it's hardest to have composure. You look at the scoreboard, it's not even quarter time, it's 22-0. They need a senior head here to really just stand up and slow this down. So if Alice Edmonds can take her time here, get everyone to form a pack down the line, just get some territory here.
One of the challenges, they've only been able to take 2 marks. So if you can't take marks, K-Mac, you just can't control the tempo of the game, can you?
Well, even that handball there, that's completely useless. She's come from in front of the mark, Pritchard. I know she's rolling onto her left, but she's got no further than the mark there. She's kicked it off a step and then kicked it out.
Conan, inside 50, standing underneath it again is Gorham. Well done, Ahrens. Had a power of work to do early. Edmonds, quick kick from Aurora Smith. Desperately needs someone to get on the end of it, but Greek can't take the mark. Anderson was shoved in the back. He'll come back. And he'll come back again. Anderson reset on the mark. Takes the hit-up option.
Just look at all the space for the forwards to lead into here at the back of the stoppage.
Spark runs herself into trouble and then out of it again. Bombs it to the hot spot once more. Ahrens at ground level against Ruby Spark. Ahrens, another little flick out. Smith is run down from behind. Ball up. 14
inside 50s to 1, and I dare say that one for the Bulldogs was probably sort of 40, 45 metres out.
And they're going to get another one here, and often 14 can be deceptive because they're shallow in and out. These haven't been shallow entries, K-Mac. They're all going to the top of the square.
Certainly are. Look at these deep. They're kicking it nice and deep.
Fortunately for the Dogs this time, Izzy Grant's there. This is where they need a bit of composure. This is just their 3rd mark of the game, and we're almost at quarter time. Grant will again hug the boundary line.
It's a number of ill-disciplined free kicks as well, with holding, little pushes in the back after.
And Ellinger. And again, this defence is standing up so well. As you mentioned, 16 inside 50s. They've only conceded 3 goals. If there's a positive for the Dogs, it's that their defence has been magnificent.
And it's this person, Lauren Ahrens. This is way too corridor with that kick, though, but she's held up well in defence.
Can they hang on for 15 more seconds? Conan, quick kick inside 50. Brisbane for a late strike. Long can't get the hands free. In there working was Gorham. 5 seconds to play. Just need to be clean here, the Dogs. Great tap from Hartle for Dawes to run onto. She can't beat the siren. Impressive opening turn from Brisbane. They completely controlled territory. Full credit to the Bulldogs' defence. They battled their hearts out. At quarter time, it's Brisbane 3-4-22. Bulldogs yet to score.
All right, quarter time here, folks, at Brighton Homes Arena in Ipswich. And this is a one-act affair. It's all the Lions. 3-4-22. The Western Bulldogs yet to score. Tell you what, it could go like this all night. Will the doggies score? That is the question. I really don't know whether they can. I think Brisbane Lions will end up putting a big margin on there. They had stacks of inside 50s. Of course, the Western Bulldogs, what should I say? My gosh, what am I saying, folks? I don't know. Their defence is holding up well. Only the 3 goals scored for all that pressure. They've held up well, but how long can they hold up for? Now, I think I did shout out a few people, didn't I? J-Mar, the stats man, Tine. Shout out day. Mega love shout out. Noel, Taddy, good on you. Ryan, Annie, good stuff. The late sleepers, I should say. Of course, Ryan, good. Addie G. What's going on, son? What is going on? This could be an interesting game. Let's quickly head over there and have a look at the leading disposal getter. And, of course, that's Ellie Anderson for the Brisbane Lions and Lauren Ahern's there for the Doggies. There we go. 6 and 2, 1 mark, 2 tackles, 5 kicks, 3 handballs, 2 marks, no tackles for Lauren. Let's just roll down. There we go. Kathy Svark on 6. Her sister's playing there somewhere. There we go. Ruby Svark. Just the 1 touch, 1 handball so far. As we roll down the board, we'll have a quick look at the team stats. And there's a few of the players there without a touch on the ball so far. All right, let's just go and quickly have a look at the goal scorers. Of course, they're all coming from Brisbane. Taylor Smith, Isabel Dawes, Sophie Conway, all with single goal scorers there for the Brizzy Lions. Let's just have a look. And you know what, folks, we're going to see the domination here of the Brisbane Lions. The reigning premiers looking good tonight. 64-37. And just about doubled already after the first quarter. They certainly have in the kicks, 38-19. Handballs, 26-18, getting a little bit of link up, but definitely using it by foot more. Look at that, inside 50, folks. Inside 50, 17-1. 17 inside 50s for the Lions for their 7 scoring shots. So in that aspect, the Bulldogs have certainly defended well. Just letting the 3 goals coming out of the 17 inside 50s for the Bulldogs. Only managed the 1. Wowee. It could be in for a long night, the forwards of the Bulldogs. It could be a quiet night for them up there. Disposal efficiency, 70%. That's pretty good there for the Lions, going reasonably high. 35 for the Doggies. Yet to register efficiency inside 50 for the Dogs. 7 free kicks to 3 Brisbane Lions way. Hit outs there in front there. The clearances, though, good to see the Doggies are matching it there with the Lions, 6 apiece. Centre clearances, though, as all the Lions in the midfield there. Contested possessions, as we expected. Lions on top, 34-24 as the uncontested possessions. They've just had the ball in the hands a lot more, have the Lions, and, of course, the turnovers. The Western Bulldogs have certainly been put under pressure. The Brisbane Lions, they just look too fast, too classy of an outfit. And they've definitely got more composure as the game goes on. 11 marks to 4. 2 inside 50 marks to the Lions, none to the Dogs. So as I said, they are defending well. And just have a look at these tackles. The Brisbane Lion bringing the heat. 18, 17 and 9. Of course, 8 inside 50 tackles. And to the Bulldogs, not yet. Not yet. There we go. There are the team stats, and we can just see the domination. Keep a reminder on this, that inside 50, 17-1, and we'll have a look at that at halftime, see what's happening there. But we are just about back down to the ground. There we go. There we go. We are just about back down to the ground. So I might take you back down to the ground, son or all, and let's get the second quarter underway. Big shout out to the manager in the BG. Thanks, Dave. All right, let's head back down to the ground for the second quarter.
Opponent, which will then allow us to put pressures on all of their disposals. They doubled us in disposals, so we were second to the ball. So we just got to reset and go again.
Best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks to Tam Hyatt. So to your point, Kate, that first possession is round about even, but then the contested possession off the back of that is all Brisbane, and then the uncontested 2, 3, 4, 5 to chain out is definitely all Brisbane.
Yeah, they're completely losing shape around contests, so they're winning the clearance, or they're at least breaking even at the clearance, but there's 1, there's 2, there's 3 handballs all the way through, and just more to the point around Dee Berry and her effect through the midfield. So this is her disposals rounds 1 to 3. Last year when she spent some time in there was averaging 18.5 and hitting the scoreboard as well. So they'll look to more of that from her in this game so far.
Second turn from Springfield. Can the Dogs get hands on possession? Right now they can't. It's Anderson. Good tackle though. They're going to win it back here. Great work, Carruthers. Now they need to use it forward to the centre. Can they chain a couple of possessions together? That's a great start. Gavalis gets on the end of it. He's got a couple of options. Thought about the give on the way past, but instead she'll go for territory. Second inside 50 of the game. Hartwig can't complete the uncontested mark. Then Bolts is clipped high by Woodley.
Much better build-up though. Carruthers lowering the eyes. Gavalis offering her a nice lead, and then Nilly ending in a mark inside forward 50. Can they get some territory now? Lock this ball in.
Hickey. Anderson went to ground. That opens the door for Edmonds, who got the hands free. Trying to get the handball to Goodnett. Hickey goes back, finds it again. Berry fashions a kick, but in the process puts it out of bounds on the full. So Ali Anderson 9 touches, Spark 6, Croonan and Conway 5 apiece, Dawes 5 as well. Well, Lauren Ahrens was superb in that opening turn in defence. 8 touches, 6 for Edmonds. Lead the way for the Dogs. Gorham got the fist in. Conway at the back, wants to take on Fitzgerald, uses the run now of O'Dwyer. She punches a handball forward. Spark, will it sit for her? She sockets it inside 50, looks around, has some space, finds the football, flips it inside to Conway. Awkward handball for her, well done Gorham. Smothered. Handball comes back to O'Dwyer. Her handball in turn smothered as well. Pritchard, she's harassed. Gorham goes to ground. Sparking over the top.
Mr. Time's got so much room to move, so Ruby Spark then had no defender anywhere near her. Even if there is a defender near her, she's hard to defend, but even harder when she's out on her own.
Anderson steps through some traffic. Conway will stand underneath this. And Sophie will go back and a chance to kick her second.
So that's again exactly what Tam Hyatt was speaking of in the first quarter time break. The players are giving them too much room. Look at where Conway starts. In this stoppage, side by side with Carruthers. Reads the play that much quicker, just slower to react. Gives her so much space and time, and Sophie Conway will make you pay.
Carruthers had hands on, which is what you want, but she just let her slip through her fingers. And Conway can go back and kick for her second of the evening. She's pushed that one across the face for a minor score.
And it's what happened, Jace, when you're around the ball and you're thinking, okay, I'm out here. If we win this contest, I can be the handball out. But in that time, while you've been ball watching, your opponent has actually read that your team is in a better position, their team, sorry, is in a better position to win the ball. Sophie split forward, and by the time Dom realises it's too far gone for her to pick her up.
Arms down the line. Mark held by Pritchard. Looked inside, then goes to the handball, but again, just basic skill errors letting the Dogs down here. That made life difficult for Ahrens, and what could have been an easy give and go will come back the other way. Conway gets the receive back, floats a kick inside 50, just wanted to get it over the top, did so to Smith, and Brisbane get their fourth. Wasn't the best looking kick off the boot of Sophie Conway, and she just laughs and apologises. Just wanted to sink the boot into it to get it over the top of the last defender, seeing that Smith was goal side. Taylor Smith with her second of the evening.
Control, they were able to move the ball by foot and chain some kicks together, and then, as we said, Jace, through the call, just a missed hand pass. And when you do turn the ball over like that, when you're running away from goal, your defence isn't set, and Brisbane quick to get onto it, and Conway Not her prettiest kick, but hey, doesn't need to be if it's effective.
So 2 for Smith, singles to Conway and Dawes. It's the Lions by 29 points. There's a whistle. It's going back to Ali Anderson. Already in double figures, her 11th coming up. So Berry's got the job running with Dawes at the moment. Conway involved again. Fitzgerald crunched. Creek came in a late tackle on Anderson. Here's Dawes versus Carruthers. Flips it into the path of O'Dwyer. She goes down the line. The Dogs get a much-needed one-on-one win through Izzy Grant.
Good positioning and well read by Grant there. Good grab. See if they can find an uncontested possession, which has been so hard to come by all night.
Uncontested possessions 3-1, 44-15 in favour of Brisbane. Just no time and space for the Dogs. And when they have had a cake, they've missed the targets and put themselves back under that pressure again. Another holding free kick. It's going Brisbane's way to Hickey. There's those uncontested possession numbers. Stark, aren't they? Spark sets up Bolts, who rode the Greek tackle, but coughed up the handball in the process. Barwick tries to get it to Smith. She was clipped high. Jasmine Smith, game number 9 tonight, the youngster from Broadbeach. To half forward, clears the contest. At the back, it's going to be Grider. Good strong body work from Woodley, and now has a runner on the inside. It's Goodnex. She's going to play it forward to the football, and Hartley will have the opportunity to put the Dogs on the board.
Take a bow, Heidi Woodley. I've been very excited for her to come back into this Dogs outfit. This is her first game of the season, and she just offers efforts like this. Really hard at the football, will make her opponent's life very difficult. A good tackler as well, and then Goodneck, classy user with the ball.
So some potential reward for effort here. Sarah Hartwig for her first of the season. She's pushed it across the face, and you can see the frustration on her face.
She's not confident in her goal kicking so far this year. She's had a number of opportunities, and she missed a similar one last week against Collingwood, but she's an elite, against West Coast. She is an elite kick of the ball, and just, it's amazing how confidence can just really get you down when you're in front of the big sticks.
Well, she kicked 11-4 in her career up until this year, Kate. So
I worked with her a lot last year, and she is an elite kick of the footy. Can slot them from all around the place, but mentally, obviously just having a few demons at the moment when she's lining up. And you can imagine the confidence of a lot of these Bulldogs players is low, given what's happened in the season so far, but they need to regroup. They need to just take each moment as it comes in this one, and when there are opportunities to take it, try and put some scoreboard pressure on the other way.
Wilcox taken down by Spark. Ball spills out. Bulldogs, first of their 72 games in their club history without Ali Blackburn. It's the next generation players now having to step up. One of those is Wilcox, playing game number 23. Penetrating kick to the wing. Can Greek get involved and provide a bit of spark and energy? Ballinger pokes it wide, finds Postlethwaite. She'll go down the line. Good option. It's Spark of the Cathy variety. Plays on. Can use the runner. Bolts will get it back now. Punches a handball down the line to Anderson. She'll put it into a dangerous position. Conway again. Didn't complete the grab.
Again, just completely outspreading the Lions, outspreading the Bulldogs. As soon as the play leaves the area, guess who's no longer there? The Lions, and the Bulldogs players are all still there. It's plus 15 just this quarter for uncontested possessions, 22-7.
Inside to outside game, completely dominant right now, the Lions. Dogs fighting on bravely, need to get this one rushed through. They had different ideas, got in each other's way, and Courtney Hodder said, oh, thanks. Courtney Hodder gets her first goal of the season after some miscommunication in the goal square from the Bulldogs defence. The Lions get their 5th.
Honor will be happy to have hit the scoreboard for the season now, but just some complete miscommunications there. RNs could have just held back and got the handball received rather than going to the contest and just put Kimber under all sorts of pressure in her first game. That's where you want the first gamer with her head over the footy to win it and then just feed a nice handball out. Even if you professionally fumble the ball over the line there, they're not going to come away with a goal.
Carruthers tries to bust through. It's taken high in the process. Good aggressive movement out of the middle though from the Dogs.
They've looked good at centre bounce. They've had a couple of good centre bounce clearances so far in this game, but it's been the next link in the chain that's really let them down.
Yeah, on the inside they've been fine. Clearance is 10-8. It's just...
They're all still at the clearance and the Lions aren't there any longer.
Barwick inside 50. Nice positioning from Coney. She goes short but turns it over. It was touched. Gavalis a flying shot. That's going to work. And now Sarah Hartwig will go back from a similar distance, about 15 out, directly in front.
Just needs to take her time here. Looking straight at the goal. I would love for a senior player to get over to Twiggy right now and just have a little word and say, just take your time here. Everyone's walked away from her. If she can get through, she just needs to get momentum through this kick.
That's better. Dogs are on the board. Confidence builder for Sarah Hartwig and for the Bulldogs. It's been a dominance in terms of territory, but as we keep mentioning, the Lions haven't been able to take full toll on the scoreboard. Margin is 28 points.
Some brilliant work from Ellie Gavalis. Read it off the boot really quickly and then we'll say she passed it off. I think she was having a flying shot at goal, but it's a better narrative if we said she saw Hartwig
nice
on her
goal
own
assist
and kicked it beautifully to her advantage. But that'll be a confidence booster. We've had a confidence booster down one end for Hodder, who I think will start to get on the scoreboard more now, and that's one for Hartwig with her issues that she was having in front of goal. And here we go again, another centre clearance to the Dogs.
Better signs here for the Doggies in the second term. Bouncing ball inside 50. Lovely tap on came from Smith. Gavalis involved again. Now to Edmonds. Went to the voice. Hartwig. Pressure comes from all sides and Brisbane win it back. Mullins links up with Conway and receives it back. Kicks to the outer side, and that's the difference at the moment. Brisbane are able to find that link player. Long. Well done, Wilcox. Worked Mullins towards the line. Yashida Martin with a lovely turn. Mullins kept on running. Good build up from the Lions. Kick to half forward. Smith went back. Couldn't complete the grab. This is the first game at Kimber. Playing her first for the Bulldogs after playing 3 for Gold Coast in season 7. Kaylee Kimber.
I like Charlotte Mullins in this game, playing a little bit of a different role. I think Conway's going to spend most of this game in the half-forward line, just give her legs a bit of a rest because she's covered a lot of kilometres early as she gets a free kick there, but it's going to belt doors. But I like Mullins off the half-back line. Lots of run and dash.
Brothers pleaded her case. Kick from Dawes missed the target though, so here's a chance for the Dogs to counter-punch. Smith will come away, received from Gutneck. Edmonds was out in front. Worked under the football by Dunn, who's first back onto it and has Conan in support. Bounces to O'Dwyer in space. Went for an awkward bounce. Now just pumps it towards 50. Aurora Smith tracked it. In there scrapping against Anderson. Gorham in there as well. And Gorham tries to come away. Can't do so. Hampson tackles her to the turf. Inside 50's 4 apiece in this term. Dogs much more competitive in general play. Just feels like for the first time tonight, Kate, they're starting to get a little bit of confidence and a little bit of system.
Yeah, they've been able to put pressure on the ball carrier as well. Less run and gun from the Lions because they're a little bit closer to their opponent than they have been early in this game, and really helps when you can get the ball out of centre clearance and get it in your forward half quickly.
Borg in the ruck. There's another clearance for the Dogs. It's Kimber. Puts it out into the path of Smith to run onto against O'Dwyer. Smith tried to paddle to advantage. Did it well. Won the one-on-one really well. Got it to a 2-on-1 on the wing, and the Dogs are going to win that as well because Hartwig got a push in the back.
That was huge from Smith. Really hard one-on-one with Orla O'Dwyer. She's very quick and very skillful, but Smith took it and then stepped back inside O'Dwyer.
Hartwig's kick was intended for ball, but it's cut off by Ellinger.
It's that kick there that's letting him down, isn't it, Jace? It's those ones that are 2-on-1s in the Lions' advantage, and it's just hanging in the air for an intercept mark.
Switch kick to Sophie Peters, who goes short to Kathy Spark. She looks for options inside 50. She's got Dawes sideways, heads in that direction. Didn't hit the target with the kick, so Gavalis can close on Dawes, who sneaks away. Steps around Barwick, gives it to Ellinger from 65 out. Jade can set it up. Well done. The only player to go at it was Wilcox. Dogs getting some possession now, starting to even things up in general play.
I like this from Hartwig as well, getting further up the ground. First couple of games we've seen her sort of parked inside 50, has had little to no effect on the game, but getting up, she's a good contested mark. Just has to polish up that disposal.
Paddled to her own advantage and got run down by Berry. Dee pleads her case, saying, well, if she bounced the football and it didn't come back to her, is that my fault or hers?
That's harsh. That's a harsh free kick. I know to the letter of the law didn't have possession, but that's because she bounced it and it didn't come back up to her, and Dee was expecting her to take that, so that's rough when you've had a lot of prior opportunity and 50.
And a dissent free kick as well for that questioning of the call. And this one will hurt.
Paid for a while, have we?
This will hurt. The Dogs were trying to rally, and Brisbane can get one to extend the margin back to 34 points. Spark from point-blank range kicks the goal. Kathy Spark with her second goal of the season. Lions have got their sixth.
So the rule is if you're bouncing the ball and you get tackled, it's holding the ball. I guess that is if you bounce the ball at the same time, you're getting tackled. But, I mean, technically she's still in the motion of bouncing it. And
the 50
against
maybe
Aurora
for,
Smith.
Yeah, it's against Smith. Who actually did.
She gave it to her.
Gave it to her.
It's pretty rough with both ends of the stick really there for the Bulldogs. But the Lions, again, just able to wrestle back momentum when the game's there, sort of in the balance, and go ahead and kick another important goal.
Interesting one. Ball technically hit the ground, but did it hit Kathy Spark before it hit the ground on that 50?
Might need the ball technology to tell us that.
That's true. Kick inside from Berry. Over the head of Smith. Hartwig tries to sock it forward and keep it moving. Peters gathers. Dunn. Look out, Conan. Had to be quick with the hands. Dunn gets game tackled and taken high. Jen Dunn into her second season and just improving at such a rapid rate, adding some run and offense to her game this year. She's now grown in confidence. That kick not her best. Gorham couldn't complete the grab. Might make it work on the ground though. Tried to shovel it forward to Gavalis. Greider got in the way. O'Dwyer found her boot, but in the process found Goodnecht. Bricking 40 out.
This will be out of her range, I think. She'll be looking for a little hit up here. There's no movement for her whatsoever, though, in front of the ball.
So does she set up and try to go the journey? Pulls the kick to the square. Almost for Borg. Conan stripped of it. Tapped away Postlethwaite. Hartwig throws a boot at it. And misses right.
So even just then when Goodneck has the mark at the top of 50, that's when you need 3 or 4 players just completely running out of the square, creating some movement so that there's some defensive confusion. Even if that kick goes to the exact same space, it might be a 1-on-1, it might be a 2-on-2, rather than just a big pack of players at the top of the square.
The Evie Long cheer squad for the debutante. And she delivers to Hartle.
Just look at the free players they've got.
Dawes Quick to her feet, and Pritchard says, not so fast. Well done, Izzy Pritchard.
That's a huge tackle. I was saying earlier how hard Beldors is to tackle, especially in that much space. Good closing speed from Pritchard and good strength.
Gritted her teeth and dragged her to the turf. Keeps the kick low and flat inside 50. And there hunting it is Woodley. Seeing Carruthers tackle Conan to the ground. So Dogs have lifted their work rate both with and without the football in the second term. They trialled by 22 at quarter time. It's 33 at the moment. A much more competitive term from them. Borg feeds it back. Goodneck nowhere to go. And Svart takes her out.
Look at that, they've been able to get 45% in forward half. They had a couple of inside 50s in the first half, but the first quarter, it just went straight out. Whereas here, at least they've had some forward 50 stoppages. They've put the defenders under some pressure as well. We've seen some missed kicks, so Tam Height will be much happier with this quarter of football.
It's definitely something to work with in the second half for the Dogs. Taking some steps here. Fitzgerald to Goodnecht. Big fly came from Hartwig, so athletic. Now on the deck, onto her favourite left. Bounces at goalward. She's been busy in the second term. She's kicked 1 goal, 2, and that one that dribbles out.
She's had the 6 disposals for the term, 1 goal, 2, as well as you just said. So 3 marks, 2. So as I said, I love when she's getting up the ground. It's really hard for your forwards if you're just parked inside 50 and the ball's not coming to you. When you do get the opportunity, you don't necessarily take the chance. So when you've had the ball earlier in the game, then when it does come to you, you've got a chance to make the most of it.
She's a difficult matchup as a forward. Started as an intercept defender. They moved her to a wing almost to protect her from herself. Here's Hartill. They moved her then from half-back to forward. And here's Taylor Smith, who says, let's settle things down. We've got 5 seconds left. Kick to the middle for Dawes. And it is half-time at Brighton Homes Arena in Springfield. A much better second term from the Western Bulldogs. Brisbane 6-5-41. The Dogs 1-2-8 in that second term. It was 3 goals 1 to 1 goal 2. So 4 scoring shots to 3, K-Mac. A much better performance from the Bulldogs.
Well, if you Tam Hyatt at 3-quarter time, you draw the numbers up from the first quarter and then the second quarter in the key metrics, and just a really big turnaround from the Dogs, able to compete more, inside 50s, relatively even. They were able to just get the game a little bit more on their terms. The one that's still a concern, though, they even up contested possessions to just the +3 in the Lions' advantage, but uncontested possessions +24 still in the Lions' favour.
Very professional, methodical, systematic first half from the Brisbane Lions, who came out and put on 11 scores to 3 in that first half of football. Impressive from the reigning champs, Alyssa.
Yes, absolutely. Ali, how are you feeling right now? A dominant first half.
Yeah, no, it was good, but we still, have lots of little things that we really want to work on. So never happy, but yeah, it's a good start for us.
Dominated possession in that first quarter, let them in slightly in that second. What do you need to improve on?
Well, we know they are, a really young and fit team, so they're going to keep going with us, and their defence pressure is really good, so we're just, making sure that we give it back to them and really link up through the middle there and get it forward.
Best of luck for the rest of the game.
Thank you.
Half-time at Brighton Homes Arena in Springfield. It's Brisbane 6-5-41. Bulldogs 1-2-8.
All right, half-time, as I said, folks. I was just talking to Ellie Anderson there in that little interview as they were coming off the ground. Of course, the Lions doing it comfortably here at Brighton Homes Arena there in Ipswich. 6-5-41 to the Bulldogs, 1-2-8. It's the Lions by 33 points. Carly, how you going? Welcome in. Alrighty. I tell you what, that was a little bit better effort there by the Bulldogs. They found a little bit more pressure, a little bit more forward pressure, kept the ball inside their forward 50 a little bit more, so that was great to see. Hopefully they can continue that effort into the second half. So we are going to be looking forward to that. Of course, the Dogs putting on 1 goal 2 in that second quarter. The Lions are putting on 3 goals 1. They won that quarter. All right, let's just have a little bit of a look at the stats now. And of course, Ellie Anderson leading the way out on the ground with 15 disposals. 10 kicks, 5 handballs, 1 mark, 4 tackles. She's having a good game there. Kathy Svark, next best on 11 with Brennan Coonan, both on 11. Sophie Conway with 10. And of course, Allinger and Dawes on 9. As you see, the top 6 out there are all from the Brisbane Lions. Laura Hearn's their best for the Bulldogs. She's on 9, 6 kicks, 3 handballs, 3 marks. Well done. Keep it going. As they said, they're just the young side, the Bulldogs. So hopefully they're going to be fit enough to run this game out. But when you look at watch the teams play, folks, you'll see the class of the Brisbane Lions. They just seem to have a little bit more poise, a bit more composure when they've got the ball, looking for targets nicely instead of just grabbing the ball, kicking it, and hoping for it to go in one of their players' hands. There we go. Look at the goal scorers on the game. Of course, we've only got one multiple goal scorer here, and that's Taylor Smith for the Brisbane Lions. She's got 2 goals. She's had 4 disposals. She's had 2 marks, 4 kicks. She's had 2 goals. Kathy Svark, Courtney Hodder, Isabel Dawes, Sophie Conway. They're the other single goal scorers there for the Brisbane Lions. Of course, the only single goal scorer for the Bulldogs, Sarah Hartwig. She's had 1. She's had 8 disposals. All kicks, of course, 8 kicks. She's had 3 marks, a tackle. She's kicked 1 goal too. She's kicked the entire score of the Western Bulldogs. Just if you're interested in the AFL fantasy points, you play that game in the AFLW season this year. It's Ellie Anderson on top at halftime with 59. Kathy Svark and Sophie Conway on 57. The rest under 50 up until halftime. Thanks, Tina, my manager up there. Folks, if you're just joining us, don't forget, head to the pin and you'll see the manager, my manager's link up there to her channel. Please go and give her a follow. She's a superstar, and she's quite famous in her area. So, especially on YouTube, she's one of the good ones. So please head to the pin on the break and get over there, check her channel out, and give her a follow. That'd be most appreciated. Don't forget, when you're up there, don't forget to vote who you think's going to win this game. 22 votes in so far. We've got 73% saying the Brisbane Lions and 27% saying the Bulldogs. We'll come back to the stats in just a moment, but we're just going to take you back to the commentators as they give us a few more thoughts on the opening half.
50s apiece in the second term, which was a much better reflection of just how the contest changed and evened itself up. But at the major break, the reigning champs in control. They lead it by 33 points. Ellie Anderson with 15 touches. Taylor Smith with a couple of goals. Lauren Ahrens, as we said during the call, she doesn't want to be the leading possession getter, but she is right now. She's had 9 touches. Kat McCarthy, really professional opening term from the Brisbane Lions. They got the game on their terms and kept it there. But credit to the Dogs, they managed to wrestle it back a little in the second.
Yeah, they did. They were able to equalise in pretty key areas. The real concern still is that uncontested possession. But as you said, clearances, they were only down by 1 in that area and then equalised inside 50s, which is huge when it's been 17-1 in the other team's favour for the first half, or the first quarter, sorry. And it forced some errors from the Lions. They were obviously set up well defensively in their forward half, and credit to Sarah Hartwig. She's had a bit of a rough time in front of goals so far this year. First of all, hardly seeing much of the football in the forward line for the Dogs, but then missed one earlier that she probably would have liked to kick, and then goes back and slots that one. And in that quarter alone, she had 7 disposals, 3 marks, and a goal to go with it. So she's someone, if she can get up the ground and get in the game a little bit more, it will help to bring the ball back into the Bulldogs territory.
Our only reliable player, Sophie Conway, who's just so dangerous wherever it is she plays on the ground. She started inside 50. And then obviously we know she can play at half back, she can play on the wing, had 10 possessions, 7 of those contested, 3 tackles, 3 inside 50s and kicked 1 goal too.
Well, I think reliable player is the absolute perfect way to sum up Sophie Conway. You always know what you're going to get. You're going to get a fierce player at the contest. You're going to get someone that does this, that runs and carries, that gets you metres gained. But now she's someone that is constantly hitting the scoreboard and having shots at goal. And we've seen her spend a little bit of time in this match in the forward half as well as on the wing. But she's pivotal wherever she gets the ball.
So what sort of conversations are taking place right now inside the Dogs' rooms?
Are you reflecting on what went well that quarter? That's what you have to focus on. You have to say, look how we started, look where we are now, and this is what we need to continue. The pressure at the source. I'd be focusing on that spread from stoppage. I'd be focusing on, okay, once we win it, we're doing really well in the clearance, but how can we stop them post-clearance from getting that uncontested possession? But really positive. I'd be really positive in that room. There's been some quarters that they've had in this season that they wouldn't be so positive about, but that's definitely one that they can get the metrics up on the board and really make the girls proud of how they went about it in the second term.
When you get outplayed 17 inside 50s to 1 at quarter time, there's not much you can hang your hat on. There's not much that you can say, hey, we're matching a team in this particular area, but they can legitimately go in at halftime and say, hey, you know what? If we do the things we committed to doing at quarter time, we keep doing that, we're at least competitive in this game.
And when you've got a young team, wins and losses isn't the thing that you're going to focus on. You're going to focus on your key metrics, your KPIs, whatever they may be for the Bulldogs this year, and you're going to highlight your improvement on those each quarter that you go about it, and that would be what you'd be highlighting in post-game review as well. And as long as you're making progress in those areas, that's what you focus on. Yeah. But if you're not, then you go back to the drawing board. Why aren't we achieving these things? And I'd say they could tick those off for the second term.
Yeah, it's not about wins and losses right now for the Bulldogs. It's about growth and development. At halftime, they trail by 33 points. It's Brisbane 6-5-41. The Bulldogs 1-2-8.
All right, as they take another break there, folks, let's just pop over there and have a look at some of these team stats now. We have a look at the disposal. Still the Lions well in control of this game. The disposal count 139-79. 60 ahead on the count there. 28 in the kicks, 32 in the handballs. Let's have a look at the inside 50s. Now remember this, folks, after the first quarter, 17-1. 17-1. In that second quarter, 7 each. 7 each. Well done, Bulldogs. They brought that back. They steadied the ship. They got a little bit more of a look inside their forward 50. They got to play down there, which was fantastic. 7 inside 50s to both teams in that second quarter. Much better effort there from the Bulldogs. That's what we like to see. Bring a little bit more pressure, get their game play underway, and play a little bit more their way instead of just it all going down one end, all Brisbane's end. So that was fantastic. Free kicks 13-9. The disposal efficiency, Brisbane still well on top there, 71% to 48% for the Doggies. The hit-outs, Lions by 4. Clearances, centre clearances, stoppage clearances, all level pegging there. Possessions, the uncontested possessions, have a look at that. 82-30, just pure dominance by the Lions. Need to get their hands on the ball a little bit more. Does the Doggies in that department though. Turnovers, not too bad, 25-31. The marks, the Lions a little bit better there, but marks inside 50 now. Doggies pulled that back, 3 apiece. Contested marks, 1 extra there to the Dogs. The tackles, a little bit better there by the Doggies, 30-21. Tackles inside 50, 9-4. That is the team stats, folks. Up until half-time, I'll just zoom that up the top. Bring that back over there, bring that back to the scoreboard, and we'll be back in just a moment when the commentator's coming back.
They kick 6-5-41 to the Dogs, 1-2-8 to lead it by 33 points at the half. We've talked about the Bulldogs and what they can take out of that second term. What did Craig Starcevich have to say to his players, do you think?
That the game's still on their terms. It is, even though there's going to be times in games where your opposition does sort of equalise you around the footy, that they get the ball inside their forward half and forward 50, but all in all, they've had 8 inside 50s that held up to defend them with 1 goal. So he'd be happy with that. I think some of their ball use coming out of the halfback, he wouldn't be super happy with, a couple of missed kicks. So that probably just comes down to that little bit of focus that you tend to maybe just don't respect your opposition to the same degree that you would everyone else when you're that far up on the scoreboard. And Sophie Conway spoke about that around their season last year as well. So just resetting, going again, moving the ball the way that they want to, and continue to outspread them from stoppage.
One thing that would have pleased Tam High is the leadership and the resilience in that second term. They didn't have much to hang their hat on at quarter time, but they found a way to get into the contest against the reigning champs in that second quarter. There's their skipper, Dee Berry. Looks like Kathy Spark has the job on D to start the third term.
Yeah, I think Woodley also keeping an eye on that. She's playing a little bit of a defensive role on Nat Grider, so that defensive forward role is right in her wheelhouse.
As we start the second half, Wednesday night football in Springfield. Dawes came thundering in and was taken down by Carruthers. Here is Kathy Spark. A lingering tackle, it was a dump. Umpire plays the advantage. Mullins on the bounce. Half volley gathered in by Postlethwaite. Squares it to Anderson. 16th touch for Ali. There's a little chip kick and it is perfect. And Mullins is becoming a very dangerous hit-up target.
And she just works hard. She'll lead up. If she doesn't get you, she'll turn to go back front and centre. If the ball still hasn't been delivered, she'll then tick back up on the kicker.
Thought about the short option.
She might be on her range here. She's looked everywhere for an option.
Nothing doing, so she'll pull the trigger. Gains a couple extra metres. Gives it a ride. Almost gets it there, but it's offline anyhow, and Edmonds just tips it over the line.
Love to see the evolution of AFLW when players aren't quite on their range. That's when it's not an errant shot at goal to run around the player on the mark. It's just a chipping ball to the top of the goal square so that it puts those defenders under a little bit more pressure.
And speaking of pressure, she's been dealing with it all night. Out towards Edmonds, the target. At least they can set up. So some system to that exit. Kick it to your ruckman with some smalls at her feet.
Much better than what we saw in that first term when they were really hemmed in.
Anderson, Carruthers is in there scrapping, as is Woodley. Ball spills out in the Berry direction. Can she get the arms free? She cannot.
Ali Anderson, up to this point, 11 contested possessions out of 17 disposals.
Almost got another one there. Smart tackle by Pritchard. So the Dogs have been equal on the inside, right in the stoppages here all night. It's just once it's got from that initial ring to the outer ring, that's where the trouble had started, particularly in the first term, much better in the second.
Yeah, they've just lost their shape around the stoppage. They have. As soon as that ball's sort of on the outside, they have lost a bit of shape, and that's where the uncontested possessions have come from. And the handball receives. The Lions have a lot of run from behind and able to get that handball received there. It's Pritchard caught holding the ball by a good Kathy Spark tackle.
Short option. Is there a hold there? There is. It's going Brisbane's way. It's going to go to Lily Postlethwaite. So great to see Lily back, playing regular, consistent footy after having problems to deal with early in her career, an ankle pre-season of 21, then 2 ACLs. Kept her out of footy just 3 full games in 3 seasons. So to see her string together consistent football has been wonderful. And a huge benefit to the Lions as well. She's such a talent.
She is, and just a real credit to her hard work. She is a very hard worker in there at the club and just plays that small forward role with no fuss. Will always be there to defend, will always be leading up, and then also always getting to the front and centre of her tools.
Fitzgerald, this time to kick in. Heads to defensive 50. Postlethwaite couldn't control it on that occasion, but Wilcox could. Gets it down the line. Can Grigg get involved here? Wants to lay a tackle. Ellinger strong through the hips. Hickey to Dawes, but turns it over. Now Gavalis. Thought about the give to Grigg. Now heads in that direction.
It's good composure from Gavalis there. Really good win, and then to have the presence of mind to wait for Grigg to open up as an uncontested mark, really nice.
Goes down the line looking for Edmonds, who wastes no time. She's got Hartwig forward to the football. Next link in the chain here for the Dogs was Berry, but the kick wasn't great. It allowed O'Dwyer to get involved. Socket inside 50. This might still work for the Dogs. Woodley left it behind. Great tackle on Bolts, though. Play on the call. Brisbane's defence piles in.
Unlucky not to be rewarded, I thought. I'm not sure the disposal was there. Good tackle from Woodley.
He can use the body in the ruck contest, and away goes Ellinger. Kick partly smothered off her boot. Door opens for Fitzgerald. She's within range. Pins back the ears. Goes for it. Gets it over the top, but misses right.
It's first real look we've had all season, Jace, of how the forward line's going to work for the Bulldogs when the ball is inside their forward half. And they're looking good. They're putting pressure on the Lions defenders and being able to create a little bit of time and space. So this will be good for them to build their confidence to get some footy in their half of the field.
Done. Goes wide to a 2-on-1. O'Dwyer illegally got rid of Izzy Grant, who landed solidly.
Just caught her right at the wrong time, has tried to body her without knowing that Izzy's leaving the ground to try and take the mark. So definitely a free kick, but I think just completely mistimed it with when Granny was having the jump.
Grant's kick over the top of Fitzgerald. Gets to the goal square, though. Can Hartwig track this back and put some pressure on Dunn? She can. That was really great play from Sarah. She didn't concede that it was going through from behind.
And that's where you're so nervous as a defender, isn't it? You're not sure whether you can dive on it to rush it or whatever you want to do, but it's professionally done too by Jade Ellinger.
Well, both sides are claiming this. I think it might be a goal. It is. This is going to be an interesting replay. Jade Ellinger claiming it came off her boot. That might be Elaine Grigg's first goal in AFLW. It's been given to Grigg. And she'll take it.
Let's have a look at what we see here. Jade Ellinger adamant it came off her boot, and then I think it has just brushed Elaine Griggs on the way back through. And
yep, Jade wouldn't have seen it because she actually had her back to it. So she did actually kick it, Jade, but then she didn't realise it. Yeah, it hit the shin, didn't it?
Yeah, I'd love to say Grigg kicked it. She didn't. It just scraped her lower part of her shin. It's come off the instep.
What a way to kick your first AFLW goal.
Doesn't matter how you get them, they all count. But put that down to Sarah Hartwig for her attack on the footy and that ability to keep that in and not as a rush behind.
Kathy Spark down on her haunches right of screen. Dogs get a little surge of energy here. Margin back to 28 points. Gavalis wanted the quick handball to Goodneck before Poppy Bolts arrived. Somehow with muscle she managed to find her boot. Conan did likewise. Awkward bounce gathered in well by Anderson. She goes towards a 2-on-2 on the wing. Going back with courage was Hodder. First to recover was Kimber. Slapped it on, but it's picked off by Spark. Her handball cut off. Pritchard down the line, but straight back to Conan. And again, she'll hit the 45 kick. It's a dangerous one. Well done, Crothers. Conway wins the football. Through the middle of the ground again. Just happy to get it on the boot, get it in quick. Mark, important one, taken by Fitzgerald.
Both teams setting up really well behind the ball. We saw Brie Conan then taking that intercept mark and Fitzgerald as well, but it's really lifted here. The intensity of this game has gone up a notch.
Long. Postlethwaite. Hodder. Bends at Goldwood. Dogs all attacked it. Hampson got out the back. Wilcox was there and rushes it through.
It's exactly what you want from your defensive winger. First of all, you don't want your defenders to get out of shape in the ball to get back behind the contest, but you want your defensive winger sitting there as that option. Perfect goal square running from Riley Wilcox.
So 29 points the margin. It was 22 at quarter time. So since then, it's a 1-goal game in favour of Brisbane. Aaron shanks that kick. And of all people you didn't want to kick it to, Ali Anderson doesn't need any more possession. She's already up to 19.
Should be looking for a little lead up here.
Conway, yes. Frustration. Conway plays on. Off the hands of the contest, still there. Hampson, not quite. Dogs concede.
I think I said something about it in the first term, Jace, the distance that they're leaving for forwards to lead into in their forward 50. So they're still defending so one-on-one, the Dogs, when the ball's inside their defensive 50, and none of their mids are really covering those leading lanes. You want a mid just sitting in that hole where Sophie Conway led up to, so that there's at least a body that she has to make her way around.
Fitzgerald to Pritchard, who takes the grab. As he looks left and then thinks, no, look, I want to go a little more direct. Grigg waits underneath this, worked off it by Sophie Peters. The throw in, Elaine Grigg, her first goal in AFLW, the 18-year-old, was born in Kenya, moved to Australia at the age of 8, was a basketballer, kept on fouling, so Dad said, hey, listen, I'm not going to try this footy thing, might be more your go, and it certainly was.
Well, judging by the way she tackles, I can see why that would be the case.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that well received on the basketball court. Free kick for a hold, coming back to the Dogs. And Elle Bennett's. And that'll be 50.
Yeah, move on, play on.
So Elle Bennett's will be brought right down into a dangerous position. Within range for Elle, who's playing game number 53 tonight. She's kicked 4-11 in her career, which started at GWS. An opportunity here to bring it back to 4 straight kicks. Here's another look.
So I think once the player was called, so Bennett's was called to move on. No? I have no idea what that could be for, to be honest. No one moved on the mark.
Bennett's for the 5th of her career. And the Dogs have got it back within 4 goals. So it's 3 goals apiece since quarter time. It's 15 shots to 6, but the margin, 4 straight kicks.
That was a beautiful finish in front of goal for a player that probably hasn't had that many opportunities, just her 5th goal in her career, but that's a real team lifter. Came back from an ACL in under the 12-month timeline from last year, so well done, Elle Bennett, and well done the Bulldogs. They've won this term so far, 2 goals to 1, just the 4 behinds for the Lions.
O'Dwyer will be first to this. Berry manages to slip away. Delivers inside 50, through the fingertips, gets to the back. Conway breaks a tackle, snaps goalward and responds for Brisbane. Important goal for the Lions, just as the Dogs were trying to build some momentum and chew into this lead. Brisbane go whack straight out of the middle. Sophie Conway kicks her second.
Well, it was almost a set play, wasn't it? Bell Dawes over the top, just collapsed in the wingers there from the Bulldogs, and then O'Dwyer. I don't know how many times we've said it, but she will always step back onto her left, force her around on her right and see what happens. But too many players just cutting off that right boot, and she just takes the corridor and then can ill afford to miss a tackle on any of the players from the Lions, let alone Sophie Conway.
Quick response as Dawes comes charging off the back of the square again. Hartill gets it to Anderson. Brisbane lifting their work rate here. Hodder has the mark and the urgency to move it on quickly. Eyes darting. Hands it off. Conway. Next link in the chain. Anderson. Good tackle just in time. Affected the kick. It's still alive. Danger. Spark. Smith a fumble at a crucial moment. And the Dogs a chance to clear through Bennett's. Grigg attacks the football. Taken to ground. Free kick against Barwick. It'll come back to Sophie Peters.
Just watch them clear out all the lanes again. This time I think it's Gorham that has sat back in the hole, which is good. Need their mids to cover those holes.
Peters goes for territory, makes really good connection on the kick to the pocket. Almost for Smith, it bounced off her chest. And Bennett's is taken to the turf by Evie Long.
Gets herself into such good positions, Taylor Smith, doesn't she? She's always having a run and jump. Every time the ball goes in, always competing for the footy.
Ball up in the pocket. Conway on the bottom of that Pritchard tackle. Smith taps it down to Long. High ball onto the roof. Evie Long, big smile. Wonderful night for her. 19-year-old from the Sandgate Hawks. Making her debut tonight. The grandniece of former Brisbane Bear and Lion, Danny Dickfoss. Cult figure at Brisbane in the 90s. He spoke passionately pre-game.
Sorry, Jess, I think they're just waiting to see with the score review system as to whether this ball crossed between the behind line or whether it's out on the full. I think that's what the hold-up is for.
It's definitely out on the street.
It's it's a behind.
It is a behind.
And it's 6 and out, so...
Someone's picked up a Sharon. If that's true. They have a tracker in them these days, so if you take it home, they might come knocking on your door.
Might be worth a bit if you find that in Springers. Get straight down to cash converters.
Brooke Barwick held up in the tackle. Anderson, Dawes. Conway, hoisted high towards the square. Off hands, still alive. Smith tried to get it to Hodder. She flips it out. Smith, Aurora Smith smothered off her boot. And here's an opportunity for Luca Yoshida-Martin. If she can go back and kick this, it will be a very popular goal. She's been through some tough times. Her first game since round 7 of 2022. 940 days after doing an ACL in May of last season. She's had to bide her time, a lot of time in rehab. Luca Yoshida-Martin steps up and pushes it across the face with a little chip kick.
Just didn't quite get through that one like you do sometimes when you're having a kick from closer than you anticipate, but just didn't quite get her rhythm.
Owens out to Berry. 7 touch for D. Owens had 13, 12 to Pritchard, 9 to Fitzgerald, so mainly in the back 50. Conway having her 16th touch, second only to Anderson with 22.
That's a player that if I was coming up against the Brisbane Lions, I'd look to put a run-with role to Sophie Conway. The ability that she has to impact the scoreboard. I know she doesn't get as much of the footy as Ali Anderson, but I'd argue she's more damaging with her disposal.
Fair argument too. Well done, Hartwig. Turn back inside onto her preferred left. Goes to Borg down the line. Dunn. Sung her praises tonight. Allinger. Crunched. Bolts. Chases her own handball. Barwick tries to wrap her up. Hodder kept it moving to Conway. And now they're out through the middle of the ground. Conway's little chip kick was perfect to half forward. Dawes gets it, goes, drives it long. She's spotted Smith over the back. Might bounce through. Oh, that's a brutal bounce. Still there. Should get the goal. Mullins, oh, it's smothered off the boot. Well, somehow the Dogs dodged the bullet.
Take a bow, Lauren Ahrens. I mean, you can't fault Taylor Smith from doing that. She's trying to do the selfless thing and let the ball roll over and it's just sat up. But Lauren Ahrens,
brilliant, under
the pump all evening, has had a large amount of disposals. I think a good percentage of those would be what Jess Fitzgerald just had, and that's a kick in. But, geez, she's got to be close to exhausted and has still laid a goal-saving smother.
Conway in over the top. You don't mind Lauren Ahrens getting some freebies in the forms of kick-ins, but she's had to work so hard for the other ones.
That's got to come up in the review. That's got to be one of their trademark plays for the game.
So Conway came up with a free kick here. Barrett stands the mark. Conway launches again. He'll get over the back. Here's Dawes to throw a boot at it. And she misses left. Brisbane back out to 33 points. That was the margin at half-time.
Could have a massive score on the board at the moment, Jace. That's 20 shots that they've had, scoring shots. 7 goals, 13 behinds. I know in the scheme of things they're up by 34 points leading into the fourth term, but this game would be well and truly to bed if they kick straight.
Yeah, it could have been a real fill your boots percentage booster tonight. Still may be, plenty of time. If they can start finding their range, they lead it by 34. Anderson, handball missed hotter. Dogs have been pretty. Spark over the top, just handballed into space for Grider to run onto. She tried to flip it to Dawes. Fitzgerald fights on. O'Dwyer gets there first from 50 towards the square. Smith up in front. Well, a couple of years ago, she was the apprentice behind the likes of Jessie Wardlaw and Dakota Davidson. Jessie, of course, has gone to St Kilda. Dakota out tonight. And the more opportunities Taylor Smith gets, the better she looks.
They'd be really impressed with how her as one out as a key, really. Yoshida Martin's come in, but she's sort of that mid-hybrid forward. She's nowhere near the height of Dakota Davidson and had a fantastic game.
Chance to kick her third. Smith doesn't miss many. Very reliable around goal. She's kicked 35-17 in her career. Takes her chances. Marching back out to 40.
It's been a good match-up forward and a good battle between Ahrens and Smith, but Smith just so good one-on-one. If she gets the opportunity to run and jump, and just really, really good at reading the drop of the ball early. So we'll own that front position and then take it at its highest point. Ahrens has had her fair share of the wins in the one-on-one, but if Smith goes back and kicks 3, you'd probably say advantage Smith at the moment.
Harris Andrews watching on alongside Dakota Davidson. Of course, Harris Andrews and the Brisbane Lions men's team in preliminary final action coming up this weekend. Saturday night at the MCG against the Cats as O'Dwyer bounces it to 50 once again. Fitzgerald there first and bustled straight over the line by Brisbane's energiser bunny Beldors, who displays with such joy and passion and energy. It's infectious on the rest of the team. Four seconds to play in the third term. The Lions will win it by 7 points and extend their 33-point halftime lead to 40 at the final change. It's Brisbane, 8-13-61, leading the Western Bulldogs, 3-3-21. It's a 40-point game as we turn for home on Wednesday night footy.
All right, three-quarter time, the Brisbane Lions by 40 points. The Lions putting on 2 goals, 8. 2 goals, 8 in that third term, folks. And, of course, the Western Bulldogs putting on 2 goals, 2. Actually weren't doing too bad, the Bullies, up until about halfway through that third quarter. And then, of course, the Lions started to get their groove back again, put on those couple of goals, taking their lead back out to a 40-point margin, extending it from the 33-point margin at half-time. There we go. I tell you what. Still, it's not a bad game, folks. Not a bad game at all. 23 possessions. Ellie Anderson leading the way, topping the table on the disposal count. 15 kicks, 8 handballs, 3 marks, 5 tackles. She's doing fantastic. All she needs is a goal to top that game right off. Sophie Conway's having a cracker for Brisbane. 18 possessions. She's had 14 kicks, 4 handballs, 4 marks, 5 tackles. She's kicked 2 goals, 2. She's broken 100 for the AFL fantasy points already up until three-quarter time. Isabel Dawes next best with 16 disposals, 9 kicks. Kathy Spark and Aherns, 14 disposals each of 2. Of course, Lauren Lorenz for the Bulldogs is the leading disposal getter out there. For the Doggies with 14, we'll just keep going down a little bit. I'm going to head over to have a little bit of a look at the goal scorers in this game too. I think one of the players there, I think she's got multiple goals in this game so far, and she's doing really, really well for the Brisbane Lions. So that is your stats for your players. Let me just head on back up there. We'll just have a look at the goal tally. Oh, it's kicking all the goals tonight. Here are the goal scorers. We've got a couple of multiple goal scorers already in this game tonight, folks. And of course, no surprise that they're both from the Brisbane Lions. Taylor Smith. That's right, not Taylor Swift, Taylor Smith. Taylor Smith, she's got 3 goals from her 5 kicks, doing fantastic. Sophie Conway, what a ring-a-ding-ding game she's having tonight. 18 disposals, 14 kicks. She's kicked 2 goals too. She's having an absolute ripper of a game. Kathy Spark, Courtney Hodder, Isabel Dawes. They are the other single goal scorers there for the Brisbane Lions. And of course, for the Bulldogs, just single goal scorers, and they are Sarah Hartwig, Elaine Grigg, and Ali Bennett. Just 3 goal scorers there for the Bulldogs tonight. Sophie Conway, you play the AFL fantasy points. That game, 101 up to 3/4 time. She's having a cracker with Ellie Anderson on 90. The rest all under 80 in that tally. Just a quick look at the team stats, the disposals. Well, it's about 90 disposals. The Lions full control of this game. Although, as I said, the Bulldogs did, for probably a quarter and a half, they did look reasonably good there. Steadied the ship and stopped the bleeding from the Lions' damage that they were causing. But the Lions, of course, 8 goals 3, definitely miskicked a lot. But have a look at those inside 50s, folks. 35 inside 50s to 13. 35 to 15. That's nearly triple. 21 scoring shots for 35 inside 50s for Brisbane. That's not too bad. That's what we like to see, going an efficiency inside 50 rate of 57.1. Fantastic there for the Lions. And of course, the Dogs, 13 inside 50s for just 6 scoring shots, going at 46%. All right, folks, let's take you back down to the commentators, and they're going to take us into the final quarter. And can the Brisbane Lions extend their lead? Can the Western Bulldogs pull back a little bit of pride in this game? Anyway, it's the Lions by 40 points. Let's head back down to the boundary, and they'll take us into the final quarter.
And it's just the ultimate team player there.
Coming in tonight, we said, Kate, it's not about wins and losses for the Dogs. It's about learning and development. What's pleased you, particularly since quarter time?
Oh, this has just been a far more competitive performance that we've seen from the group than we have seen all season. I think their loss to GWS was extremely disappointing, and then Port Adelaide, better again. West Coast, yes, improved again, but if they played like this against West Coast or any of those other teams, it would have been far more competitive. So they've got to be proud of how they've held themselves up until 3/4 so far this evening, and acts like this. So Lauren Ahrens has just chased Taylor Smith all the way down and still gets that smother on the line to just get that touch behind. So little acts like that, which have set the tone for most of the game, and we've seen far more competitive efforts from the Bulldogs overall in this game.
It's about little wins for Tam Height and her coaching staff, and they've got some things now they can look at and go, hey, that works for us. If we can stick to these sort of things and do more of this, it keeps us competitive with the best teams in the competition, and Brisbane are one of those.
That's it. They've got building blocks now. They know things in their games that can work. There's still some areas to improve. Post-clearance possessions are off the charts at the moment, but they're getting the work done at the clearance. The next will come sort of in their next phase of development.
Final quarter at Springfield. Margin is 40 points. Desperate scramble in the middle of the ground once again. They pile in on all sides. Fitzgerald found the football. Kick to half forward. Carruthers sold a teammate into trouble. Play on the call. Carruthers taken down by Bolts. Pritchard, can she escape? She does. Flat and hard inside 50. Can Greg pick it up cleanly? She can't. They try to flip it out. Desperate effort Gavala's taken down by Grider. And that was a pretty fiery opening 30 seconds. The Dogs digging in here. Edmonds wins the tap. They come thundering out. Hodder, they're working hard. It's picked up by Berry. She snaps goal and kicks a goal. Great scramble and scrap from the Dogs in the opening minute of the final term, and their skipper kicks the opening goal of the last quarter.
Change that they've made at three-quarter time. They've thrown Jess Fitzgerald into the midfield. Important midfield player the whole season last year, and they wanted to get her off the half-back to get some run and gun off there, but at the moment they need the bigger body through the midfield, and I think this will bring Fitzy into the game really nicely. But Dee Berry, huge goal from the captain there.
Martin back to 34 points. As the Dogs fight on, Pritchard goes to ground. Mullins trips up over the top of her. Umpire said got into the back in the process. Unlucky there, Charlotte Mullins, nowhere to go.
And interestingly, Jade Ellinger's followed her into the midfield, so that might be a defensive matchup as well. We know that one's happening down the other end, Heidi Woodley on Nat Grider.
Well done, Crothers. Traffic just went flowing on past and Hartwig slides in. And she's looked the most dangerous up forward tonight for the Dogs. She's kicked 1 goal, 2, and a big kick here to make it 28 points.
They've read the ball well off the boot. I know times it hasn't been a lace-out kick to their advantage, but Sarah Hartwig just reacted much quicker than her opponent in Dunn and was good enough to get there to take the mark.
Move forward late in season 7. Kick on its way. She likes it. Great start to the final term for the Doggies. Hartwig kicks her second. Big smile for Tam Hyatt. She's liking what she's seeing. Her side is showing plenty of fight.
Okay, 40 fans, Maccas kick to kick is on. See you in the fifth quarter to get on with the round with Maccas kick to kick.
Well, this just shows how much of goal kicking is above the shoulders, Jace. One that she missed earlier in the game from a far easier and closer shot than that. She had the settler from straight in front and then was good enough to go back and kick the goal, and must look of surprise from Tam Hyatt that they're playing this well.
Look at delight, that is for sure. Margin back to 28 points. And well done, Hickey. Brilliant out of the middle, but the handball was just partially smothered. Hodder really clever, tapped it over the top looking for spark. It's picked off. Wilcox. Dogs suddenly full of run here. Bolts couldn't complete the grab. Nicely done at the back by Dunn. Look out, Grigg takes down Sophie Peters in a strong tackle. And that is Elaine Grigg's strong suit.
That's her trademark, isn't it? That's what she can do when she's around the footy.
Look at those disposals. 9-1 in this final term. Third inside 50 for the Dogs. Can someone get on the end of this? Woodley got underneath it. At the back, O'Dwyer wants to get something going here. Hanson, they're so dangerous when they can link up through the middle. Pritchard breaks that up. Wants to bring it back the other way. Can Edmonds get the hands free? She's wrapped up by Hickey. Ball up. Edmonds with strength. Trying to get it to Pritchard. Feeds it forward, looking for Berry. Hodder in there to try and break it up. Kimber, sock it to her own advantage. Goes again. Does she get it outside the arc? She doesn't. Even if she had of kicking it that directly towards the line, she probably would have got pinned, K-Mac. So less delighted looking Craig Starcevic at the moment.
They're just going to take some sting out of this game. The more they can slow it down, the more it'll play into their favour. Get some marks, some uncontested marks. Great grab from Izzy Grant.
So at the moment, this is probably the longest sustained period where the Dogs have played forward half football.
Yeah, they have. They've been able to dominate so far in this fourth term whilst it's still young, but 88% time in forward half, we definitely haven't seen that in any other quarter so far.
Peters down the line, stretching effort from Hampson, couldn't control it, and it spills out. So Craig Starcevic will be keen to see how his team regains control.
Let's have a look at this tackle. I know that didn't affect the tackle as such as Nat Ryder didn't take possession, but that's a big play from your debutant. Hasn't had a whole lot of the footy, but come forward to defend, put Nat Ryder under pressure. She gets that handball out. They're chaining it all the way down inside their forward 50.
Classy from Conway, but Collins' his handball smothered by Grant. They've still got some numbers though. O'Dwyer will go to a 2-on-1. Smith over the top, crash the pack. Dawes the beneficiary. She runs to 25, pops her handball over the top. Willets hit the spark. Brilliantly done by Wilcox. And once again, some scrambling defence from the Dogs.
We haven't seen this effort from them all season. This is fantastic work. First of all, Taylor Smith to crash that pack, but then your offside run there. Riley Wilcox did a similar act early in the game, and then that one again. They are really digging in here.
Dawes tried to crash through and get it to Hodder. Smith can't wrench it free. Ball up 20 out from the Brisbane goal. Smith and Edmonds. Edmonds again tries to flip it back. There's a free kick. It's going Brisbane's way. In the ruck contest to Taylor Smith, who can go back and kick for her 4th goal. I've already spoken about what a great finisher she's been throughout her career. 35-17. Goes for a hold against Alice Edmonds. And stands on the goal line. Smith for her 4th to just quell the resistance here. 20 out, straight in front. And she slots through, goal number 4. 1 in each quarter for Taylor Smith. And the Lions with a steadier of sorts, back out to 34 points.
Is made by 2,712 fans.
She's been huge tonight, Taylor Smith. Her performance personified by that 2-on-1 where she was able to bring the ball to ground. That's her that's her new career high. Previous was just last week, 3 goals too. So she's now kicked the 4 goals. But you think when she's playing one out in the square, it might be more difficult for her. She's found it easier.
Fantastic tonight. Marching back out to 34. Bennett's chips it inside 50. Clears Barwick. Woodley trying to work back onto it. Ricochets off Crothers. Wilcox ripped off it. Smith in there working hard. Here's Conway. Quick kick. Smith goes again. Anderson just pinched it. Fed it back to Hodder. And she just boots it out into some space. Hampson will get there first. Ahrens with her. Turns tackler on Yoshida Martin. Dawes taken down. Hampson, Hodder, Allinger, harassed by Pritchard. Socket forward by Dawes. Well done, Yoshida Martin. Chips it over the top. Into the path of Anderson. Gets the bounce. Handball over the top. Chance here for Hartle. She'll turn and goal. Her first for Brisbane.
Well, they've been able to get this run and gun game going, and all night it's been very tough for the Bulldogs to defend. Just Izzy Grant then wasn't sure whether to close down the space or to hold back, and just because of that hesitation wasn't able to affect the hand pass over the top to Hartle, who was all alone in the square. But it's what happens when you play one of the best teams in the competition. It's who can sustain their brand of football for longer, and that's what the Lions have been able to do this evening.
Alana Hartle, their first goal for the Brisbane Lions after kicking 1 for West Coast in a couple of seasons with the Eagles. And away comes Conway again. Drives it inside 50 and hits Smith on the chest. So So Taylor Smith, 30 out directly in front, the kick for goal number 5.
That's got to be the real learning for the Bulldogs outside of this game is Sophie Conway just constantly finding herself in paddocks of space. She's going to use the ball well if she gets the opportunity to. 633 metres gained and no one's gone anywhere near her.
Drop ahead tathlete. Was spotted just playing school footy by a scout. Going for a bit of extra distance, she's tugged it right.
Well, the last time these two teams played, Jace, Taylor Smith hadn't played a game of any football, at any level of AFL football. So that just shows how quickly her progression's been.
Oh, it's been remarkable. Aaron's under pressure again as Wilcox there in support. Hemmed up against the line by Ashita Martin. Finds her left boot, bit of territory. Mark's taken by Sophie Peters. Umpire said, juggled over the line, throw it in. So 9 minutes to play. Brighton Homes Arena. Margin sits at 41 points. Brisbane on their way to a 3rd win of the season. Sydney made the finals last year with 6 wins and Brisbane made the top 4 with 7. So as we said at the start of the night, Kate, at this point of the year, it's just about getting out ahead of the curve, banking the wins, and then you can have a run at the top 4 later. But if you get behind the curve, it's such a short season, it's hard to catch up.
That is, it's the old cliche, Jace, 1 week at a time and banking as many wins as you can as those weeks roll on, especially now in the condensed fixture.
Yeah, right now we're taking it half a week at a time.
Yes. Just 4 days at the time if you're the Brisbane Lions who are getting on a flight to Perth tomorrow to then play the Eagles on Sunday. Don't mind that, a 4-day turnaround and travel halfway across the country.
And the Dogs are playing Collingwood, Victoria Park on Sunday. So this game 2 of 4 games in 15 days for the Brisbane Lions in this condensed schedule. That's what the Dogs have in front of them. Player management is going to be absolutely critical over the next few weeks and beyond. Got to get it right in the next few weeks to avoid injuries in the back end of the year. Here's Allinger. Streams from half-back to centre-half forward towards Smith again. Front and centre was Hodder. Was tackled when not in possession. And will take a free kick. What have you made a Courtney Hodder start to the season?
I think she's been in everything that she's needed to be, but other players have just sort of taken the reins in the forward line, and I think Courtney would be more than happy for them to do that. She's just taking her chances when they're there and offering pressure and aerial support like she did then, and you don't have to be constantly the best on ground to still be contributing to team success, and that's what Craig Sarcevic would be very happy with Courtney Hodder, because when there's games that they need her to really get on top, she still can.
Luke Long's kick inside 50. Smothered off the boot of Ahrens. Bolts. In fact, it's Allinger taken down by Wilcox. Didn't like the treatment.
I think she'll also take a little bit of confidence, Courtney Hodder, out of hitting the scoreboard tonight. As a forward, you're sort of always conscious of, oh, I'm still yet to kick a goal this season, but being able to do that just gives you a little bit more confidence in itself.
Goodneck takes it on the chest.
Goodneck being thrown behind the ball with Bennett's coming up to the wing as well, and Fitzgerald on the ball.
Edmonds in the air scrapping with Hartle. Ball fed out, Greider to Mullins. Kick goes inside 50. Coming out to meet it's Hampson. Tries to shake the tackler. Links up with Peters. Look away handball. O'Dwyer, the left footer. Can straighten up and miss. So Narelli Blackburn, as we mentioned, for the first time ever for the Bulldogs in 72 games. Kirsty Lamb, who was her partner in crime for all these seasons. She's gone to Port Adelaide. New look midfield. New names to put through there. What have you made of the midfield performance tonight for the Dogs?
I think Izzy Pritchard, which I think many of us expected to stand up. She's been great. She's had the 13 of those contested. I've also liked Dee Berry getting a few more minutes in the midfield and then going forward and kicking a goal in that third term. And Dom Crothers, she's that real defensive midfielder for them and just offers a little bit of grunt. So she's been really serviceable too, and you can't look past Alice Edmonds. She's, at the start of this game, was carrying the team in the first term with almost leading possession getter on the ground and really good work in the hit-outs too. So just consistently putting her hand up as arguably one of the best rucks in the comp.
And definitely one of the most improved.
Yes.
She has come so far in such a short time. It's a credit to her. Mullins somehow slips away towards the top of the square again. It'll get over the back. Gutnecht in there. Gorham in there. Picked up by Ahrens. Little flip handball. Fitzgerald was strong in the body. Still can't quite control it. Yoshida Martin in there scrapping. Fitzgerald somehow escaped with it. Pritchard. Crunch. Free kick, Dogs. It's going to come back to Brittany Gutnecht. Four and a half to play. Edmonds there against Hartle. Dunn at the back. Long feeds the handball. Spark just behind Dunn. Comes back to Kathy. She's wrapped up. Gavalis with the tackle. Edmonds trying to tap it to Fitzgerald. Can Mullins keep it alive? Not quite. Had the right idea as Ellie Anderson has a rest. We talk about player management. It's just going to be so critical, Kate, to get the loads right over the next few weeks. It's not just about these weeks. If you then try to taper off after that, you risk an injury as well. They've got to look across the whole period. It's totally new territory for the S&C teams.
She's constantly someone that exceeds the load she is supposed to, Ellie Anderson. So sitting next to Matt Green there, who is the strength and conditioning coach, I reckon he said, you sit here for the rest of the game because you're not going back out there if you want to get on the plane to Perth.
She's played 73 of 82 minutes tonight. And every minute she plays is at high intensity.
It is, and she just covers the ground, constantly turns up contest to contest, and is just ever reliable.
Management of that over the next few weeks could ultimately decide finals positions, top 4 positions, and maybe even the flag, depending on what happens in terms of players staying healthy.
And you can see they've had a plan coming in tonight. Beldors has spent time forward. We've seen other players play a little bit slightly down in the midfield compared to the hours that they would, or the minutes that they would, sorry. And Conway's been one of those. She's sat forward a few times through the second term, so they're already managing that.
Hartle, high kick, off hands, dangerous spot. Can Yoshida Martin get on the end of it? Dakota Davidson missed with his upset stomach tonight. Smith out of the ruck. Not quite. Yoshida Martin. That'll be popular. Well done, Luca. It's been such a long road. Such a tough road. Spoken about her troubles, Kate. Just her 4th game in 4 years on the list. Great moment for Luca.
Oh yeah, she's got to enjoy that. That's what all the time and all the effort in rehab is for.
Oh, Dax is excited.
Yeah, it doesn't celebrate other people's goals as much as she quite celebrates her own. Maybe, actually, I believe that she's unwell now with that.
That's the evidence right there.
That is absolutely.
That's all she can muster. She's not feeling great.
No. But it's been a great performance from the forwards. Obviously, a layout does disrupt your structure up forward, so Yoshida Martin stepped in and Taylor Smith has played that really key role forward of the footy for them, and the rest of them have been able to chip in really nicely.
Pritchard just nudged off her kick. Nice pick up on ground level from Crothers. Now the step away from Conway was clever. The kick not so good. Mullins ducked under the Edmonds tackle. Wanted a free kick, Charlotte. The umpire saying you ducked into it. Edmonds attack. Coming off the back of the stoppage was O'Dwyer. Fitzgerald goes to ground. Nice step from Smith. Created some space for herself. Edmonds can't get the hands free.
I think you just see the difference in the handballs around stoppage from one team to the other. So the Lions, a definite option when they give a handball that's low and flat to a runner, whereas the Bulldogs, handballs like that up high, they're sort of just willing the team forward rather than having a definite target to give it to.
Kimber gets it inside 50 on the bounce. He'll get through to the back for Woodley from the boundary line. Keeps it alive. Here's Grigg. Grigg onto her right boot. Heads towards the square. 2-on-1. Conan in there scrapping against Gavalis. Well done, Gavalis. Conan wanted the free kick.
Yeah, a little bit confused as to why that wasn't front-on contact, but Gavalis did all she needed to do to bring it to ground, but I think she may have made some front-on contact there.
Hickey against Hartwig. Final minute of the game. Dogs fighting for one last goal. Held scoreless in the opening term. They trailed by 22 points. Since then, it's been 8 goals to 5 in favour of Brisbane, who have been the better team all night. But there's been some positives for the Dogs to build from. When you're at the start of a rebuild as they are, Kate, it's just about small steps and small wins.
Definitely, and there's got to be a lot to come out of this that they're happy with as a side, as a coaching group. It's easily been the most competitive performance of the entire season.
Woodley. See what she was trying to do, just slapped it down onto her boot, couldn't quite get the angle right, through for a minor score to Heidi Woodley.
So you look at Heidi Woodley's evening. She's had the 5 touches, but she has had that defensive matchup on Nat Grider. 9 disposals for Grider and only the 1 mark. We know how important she is to their rebound marking, so that's a pretty good performance from Woodley for her first game of the season.
Yep, Grider having 15, 11 and 16 in her first 3 games. So if that was her task to negate Nat Grider, you'd say tick.
I like the way that's come about from Tam Hyatt as well, because when you are sort of starting behind, everyone else has had 3 games at the level and you're coming in, that's a really good way, giving someone a job to get into the game and to get into the intensity.
Holding the football, Dogs will get one last chance here with 15 seconds on the clock. They've got to get it in. This is Jazz Smith, who's shown some good signs. Can they grab a mark inside 50 and get one last shot? Good penetration on the kick. Ball front and centre. Conway ran into O'Dwyer. Conan with the clearance. And the Brisbane Lions keep on rolling. The reigning champs move to 3-1 with a win over the Dogs. And it's so far so good for their premiership defence. Solid professional performance from the reigning champions, Kate. When you come up against a young team, you want to seize the initiative early, get on the front foot. They did that. They scored 22 points to 0 in the opening term and controlled the game from there.
They certainly did. They were always in control. Every time that you felt like the Bulldogs were getting a little bit of momentum in the game, someone would pop up and kick a goal, or they'd transition the ball beautifully from their back half to their forward half, and they'd be able to just hit back nicely with steadying goals throughout the evening.
22 points at quarter time, 33 at the half, 40 at 3/4 time, and in the end 3 goals to 2 in that last term, and it's Brisbane 47-point winners, 11-15-81, Bulldogs 5-4-34. The Lions move to 3-1 on the season as they look to keep in touch with the top 4. Both these teams back in action on Sunday, as we mentioned. Brisbane will fly to Perth to take on West Coast on Sunday afternoon at Mineral Resources Park. Well, the Dogs will head home to Melbourne to face Collingwood at Victoria Park, 3 p.m. on Sunday. As we take a look at the live letter, the Brisbane Lions right up where they want to be as we head to Alyssa.
Thank you very much, Sophie Conway, Taylor Harris. A great win. Sophie, I spoke to you pre-match. We knew that you were going to have another big game. You said, it could get better, but unbelievable. 2 goals and 22 disposals from you.
Yeah, it's always nice from an individual perspective. I'm more worried about what the team's doing, to be honest. If I'm contributing to a degree, then I'm happy, and if we're winning, it's a massive bonus. So, Yeah, it was a pretty good overall performance, I think, from the team. I think, we definitely lapsed it at times tonight, which we need to, go back to the drawing board and really, fix up. But I think, we'll take the 4 points. We'll, got to move on quickly, though, because we've got a game in a couple of days.
Short turnaround indeed. Taylor, what about yourself? 4 goals, could have been 5. An unbelievable performance from your side.
Thank you. Same as Sophie. We're really lucky when we're in the forward line. We've got such good ball delivery from our middies and our back line, and they set up the ground really well for us. We couldn't do what we do without them. We're just lucky that we get to be the ones that pull through the big sticks. But team performance, and like Soph said, a few lapses that we need to sort of clean up for 4 days' time.
And what about Soph as well? Unbelievable, hey?
She's amazing. I love playing footy with her. I love being a housemate. We're finding a really nice connection with all our forwards and mids, and it's so good to have Soph down the forward line sometimes too.
Yeah, I was going to say that because it definitely shows out on the field as well. What is it like being housemates?
Yeah, it's great. We also live with the skipper, so we're under close eye, to be honest, so we don't get away with much. But no, it's good fun. We've got a nice little trio going on, so we love it.
Beautiful. You've got a tight turnaround next. You've got about 12 hours until you jump onto a plane. How excited are you that you get to play more footy?
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I said earlier, I mean, more footy's better. So, really excited, and we got a nice little trip away as a group. We love flying, we love travelling, so it'll be good fun.
So, Taylor, thank you very much for your time. Go and enjoy the song with the team. Thank you.
Thanks to Sophie Conway, Taylor Smith, Brisbane, 47-point winners. 11-15-81, the reigning champs over the Bulldogs, 5-4-34. Song next.
All right, there we go. That wraps it up, folks. That is full time here at Brighton Homes Arena in Ipswich. And, of course, the Lions too strong tonight. 11-15-81 defeating the Western Bulldogs 5-4-34. The Lions by 47. The final quarter there, the Lions put on 3 goals 2. Of course, the Bulldogs put on 2 goals 1. The Bulldogs actually came out with a little bit of growl in that final quarter. They looked good, kicking a couple of quick goals. Well, and it just levelled off a bit, and then the Lions took over again, showed their class, why they are the reigning premiers of last season. Looking good now, going 3-1 for the first 4 rounds of the season for the AFLW. And of course, the Bulldogs yet to score a victory. Of course, next match, the Bulldogs are playing Collingwood. Of course, both teams yet to fire a win this season. Brisbane flies back home to play West Coast. That should be a really good game. West Coast are going in good form at the moment with 3 wins so far this season. There should be a ring-a-ding-ding game there coming up for there. Actually, it'll be a pretty good game for both sides. Really interesting games for these 2 teams next up. We had the poll in tonight. Who you think we're going to win? We had 25 votes in. Of course, Brisbane Lion got the chocolates. 75% of the vote went to Brisbane. 23% went to the Bulldogs. I don't know where the other 2% went to. Holy moly. I just don't know. Don't forget, folks, on the pin I've linked, I've pinned my manager, Tinane Bem Bem. Always appreciated if you get over there and show her a little bit of support. Give her a follow and say g'day. Tell her you're from over here at Everyday Part of Life, and she'll appreciate it as much as I will. But yeah, just another great game, folks, of AFLW football tonight. And of course, we do have a few more games coming up this week. Tomorrow night, of course, there is Richmond taking on Carlton, Thursday night game, 7:15 Melbourne time in the evening. And of course, Friday we've got the North Melbourne and Port Adelaide, 5:05. Following that, we've got the big prelim final, Sydney taking on Port Adelaide. Saturday, we've got 3 matches on Saturday in the AFLW. The Gold Coast Footy Club and Geelong Cats, and of course St Kilda and Hawthorn, Fremantle and Melbourne. Of course, that evening, we've got the other big match, which is Geelong taking on the Brisbane Lions in the AFL men's preliminary final, which is going to be an absolute cracker. Don't miss those games. Friday evening and Saturday afternoon should be great games for the preliminary finals for the men's AFL footy action. Don't forget Sunday, a couple of games coming up Sunday. We've got Adelaide and Essendon, and then we're back to Collingwood and the Western Bulldogs at Vic Park, which should be another good game there. A good spectacle, I would imagine. And finally, one of those two teams, the Western Bulldogs or Collingwood, will find victory for the first time this season for the AFLW season. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to all the other matches of the AFLW, and especially looking forward to the preliminary finals of the men's AFL coming up Friday night and Saturday late afternoon. Should be absolute ripper games. There should be close games. And I expect we'll get thousands of viewers in for those two games to follow along. And then, of course, the week after that, we've got the big grand final. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Sydney or Port Adelaide? Which one of those two are going to win? And who are they going to play? Will it be Geelong or Brisbane Lions? Here we go. Should be good. Got one from each state. All right, folks, let's get down and listen to the winner's song.
Unforgettable moment for Evie Long, the first gamer. Victorious on debut as we take a look at the league ladder, and it's been a great start to the season for St Kilda. Adelaide and Brisbane up there as they always are. North Melbourne lurking, and West Coast have been a great story.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the battle between Brisbane and West Coast on Sunday. Actually, I think that will be a very good clash with the way that West Coast are using the ball, and obviously we know the run and dash that we've seen this evening from the Brisbane Lions. But down the bottom of the ladder, the Bulldogs 0-4, but they've got to be proud of this performance tonight. They're most competitive of the season so far.
8 games in the next 9 nights from Thursday night all the way through. So much AFLW to enjoy each and every night, as we mentioned. West Coast taking on Brisbane, and the Bulldogs will face Collingwood both on Sunday afternoon.
Looking forward to Richmond and Carlton. Tam Luke making her debut for the club after a huge few seasons.
That wraps it up from Springfield. On behalf of Kate, Alyssa Smith, our entire team, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening.